Hey there, it's Paul Mark with the Transcend video blog again, and I'm at the SEA in Houston. It's 2011, and I'm with special guest Nick Cho, who is sort of the brainchild behind a new competition that's been launched in the US and is actually moving into the world events. It's called the Brewers Cup, and why don't you tell me a little bit about why you started it and what you think it's trying to accomplish?
Well, first, just to be clear, it's not something I did alone.
Okay.
I've definitely sort of done a lot of the conceptualizing and worked with it, but it's been a product from a lot of people working really hard, a lot of dedication. It's mostly volunteers, a lot of staff as well. The reason for the Brewers Cup was there's really one main reason, which is that there's this trend of brewing by the cup, of manual pour over or different styles of manual brewing. And what I was finding out there was that the quality of the cup wasn't as good as the batch brewed, like from a modern sort of state-of-the-art batch brewer that I was getting. And to me, personally, it sort of undermined a lot of the values that we've been moving toward. It was, in some ways, I think, and it's a little bit controversial maybe to say, but in some ways, if we talk about second, third wave kind of thing, we're moving in the third wave direction, and the idea of doing these methods that are visually appealing and that are a lot of face time at the expense of coffee quality, in some ways is taking third wave backwards to second wave again, which is really about the place and fun and enjoyment, and at the expense of coffee quality. And I thought that's just not okay. That said, I also know that I've been involved with the WBC and the US Brewers Championship for a number of years, and what was very clear through that is it's not alone, but it was definitely a major vehicle in terms of being able to get people to look at their espresso making and cappuccino making and steam drinks as well, but take that seriously in a way that maybe they hadn't before, or that collectively maybe that we hadn't before, through a competition sort of format. And when we're talking about manual brewing and brewing coffee, there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of science, there's chemistry involved, physics and things like that. It wouldn't really make sense, especially with the audience we're talking about, to shove a lot of dogma or rules or here's the technique, here's what you got to do. It just doesn't make sense. It's not really applicable, but it might be more expeditious, might be quicker in a way. But it seemed like maybe the best way to put all that together and create a new competition that really highlights skill and ultimately cup quality.
Right. We have 29 competitors in round one, each brewing the same coffee. I'll talk about that coffee in a moment. They're doing 3 separate brews, one to each of our 3 judges. Each judge is a licensed Q grader by the Coffee Quality Institute, the CQI Q graders. Each is, again, evaluated for taste and taste alone in round one. There's no presentation, there's no customer service element. It's just brewing great coffee and serving it to the judges. The judges are using modified SCAA cupping forms to do this judging. There are 7 criteria. It's a 100-point scale. The 7 criteria are aroma, acidity, flavor, body, balance, aftertaste, and overall. And then 3 of those 0 to 10 scores are doubled for a total of 100 possible points. And those 6 finalists are basically being pre-qualified. So they have to brew a great cup of coffee to deserve and earn the right to present to the judges their own coffee in a 10-minute presentation. That 10-minute presentation not only includes the taste scores, but also includes customer service, being able to describe the coffee flavors accurately, much like a wine sommelier might talk about the flavors in the coffee, to be able to describe those accurately as well as have a good explanation and an overall impression of the entire service.
How do you think it's been going so far? Like, in terms of, you've now been a part of all the regional competitions across the US. What's the experience been for the first year? Well, I mean,
I'm going to speak frankly. In many ways, it's proven the exact what we sort of knew, which was this is something that's needed.
Right.
The champions are winning with 82, 81 scoring cups at the regional level, and that on a 100-point scale, that's not doing that great.
No.
And again, it's for a number of different reasons. But when you look at it that way, the community and the skill of manual brewing has a long way to go.
Right.
And so hopefully the competition will, in many different ways, sort of inspire that.
So what do you think is the most important aspect then of this competition in terms of providing feedback to the industry? How do we best achieve that? Obviously I've been sitting here as a judge, and I've been thinking about, okay, when I get home after this event, I need to sit down and write my thoughts down and sort of put it out there.
Yeah.
But that's just me. That's my perspective. What's the best mechanism, do you think, to get the feedback so that we can start to have an impact? Because I agree with you. I think that there's too much variation and there's too much inconsistency in terms of the brewing methods and the techniques being used. And so what's the best mechanism to get that information back to the industry from this event?
It's a great question, and the fact is that sort of coming around full circle of the information loop is a long one. Okay. It's not one that's very short, like competition, feedback, got it.
Right.
There's a little bit more of a journey that way. Okay. And I think that for instance, I think it was yesterday, this morning, when I was speaking to the competitors through the competitor meeting, I told them, I said, a lot of you are going to get really bad scores. I'm just being straight with you.
Yeah.
And please don't let that discourage you. Please really look at it as an opportunity. Like, here's what God, I have a lot to learn. Better get to learning.
Yeah.
But the fact is this is only one component. This is like one, brick in that sort of building of fundamental knowledge that people need to be able to be an excellent coffee professional at the top level. And so right now, for instance, there's this competition, but the education out there about how to do this right is non-existent. Non-existent. And so, this is, again, it's not by any means trying to solve a whole world's problems as far as manual brewing is concerned by itself. But I think that it's a step in the right direction, and hopefully it will help sort of inspire more improvement.
Cool. So Andy, you competed in the Brewers Cup this year, and not only competed, you ended up winning the first ever United States Brewers Cup. Maybe just tell me a little bit about what got you interested in that and how you found the experience.
I think I first got interested when I started seeing posts pop up on Facebook, and it just intrigued me to the whole idea of brewing, competing, brewing with the same coffee, competing against others, and it just seemed pretty cool to see, think about how people are going to be using their manual methods, what's going to be the most commonly used manual method, and I just thought it sounded like a very exciting event, and so I wanted to take part in it.
So, competing this year at Houston, how did obviously a different experience than you probably did in regionals. Maybe just tell me a little bit about what you found in terms of the overall experience and what you thought about the coffees that you had to serve. Just talk generally about the experience.
Sure. I think in regionals it was a great experience. I worked pretty hard on preparing for that competition. I had people come in and watch my performance, and I was using an AeroPress and a Kova disc, and ended up just not even finishing in the top 6. So obviously I had to kind of rethink what I was going to, how I would prepare for the U.S. competition. I was going to, what I was going to try and stick with the method I was using. I really like the Kova disc. I've used an AeroPress at home. But when I looked at the finalists at the Northeast competition, they, were all using some type of paper filter. So I had to really think hard about whether I really wanted to stay with the AeroPress and the Kova disc, or move towards paper filter. My friend who competed in regional competition as well in New York, coworker, he used the Bee House, and I tasted his coffee before he competed, and there were flavor profiles popping out of that coffee that I was not getting when I was practicing. So, I was a little worried at that point, and then obviously I didn't get into even into the top 6 there. So, so I had to totally rethink through, how I was going to approach the U.S. competition.
So, having won the first ever U.S. competition, now you're off to Maastricht in Holland here at the end of June to compete in the Worlds. Are you going to do anything different? Are you going to change it up at all?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking through that right now. I'm thinking about what coffees I might use. I'm asking some of my importers if there's any coffees that are really shining right now. Whether I change a brew method, I'm actually considering that as well. I know, I just read your blog about the competition, and it bothered me a bit that that was your favorite. The calibration brew was your favorite of all the. So I'm thinking, wow, I need to contact Nick and see if I can get one of those wave brewers, the Kalita wave brewer. So I'll see. I want to bring one of those in and play with that. But I was really happy with the Bee House, and it just seemed to brew really consistent brews for me and gave me the flavor profile I was looking for. So I would encourage anyone that's thinking about it for next year, go for it and practice it. Make sure you go with some script. I think going into the competition, you should have a script, anticipating that you're going to be in the finals, so that you're not writing it the night before.
Yeah.
Although I was definitely working on my script the night before. But yeah, I would totally encourage people to go for it and try it for next year. And it was just a lot of fun, great experience for me.
Cool. Well, congratulations.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah. So maybe to wrap up, your thoughts, what are your thoughts, not specifically about the competition? Obviously, you've had a number of negative experiences in the marketplace with manual brewing methods in terms of cup quality. But do you think that it's a positive step forward as a whole, or do you think that we need to be less? I guess a lot of the conversation we've been having this week has been, how do we get consumers to pay more for coffee because the price of coffee is going up?
Sure.
Can we demand $5 a cup off of FedCo?
Right.
Or does it need the theater? Does it need that theater to justify that high price, or is it simply what's in the cup that matters? Yeah,
there's no fine dining buffet, not in the fine dining top end.
Right.
In terms of a dining experience, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
And in that same way, there can't really be high-end specialty coffee at the top level served out of a batch brewer. It just doesn't work. The fact is right now, we don't have those tools at our fingertips to really pull it off the way that we need to. I have a whole sort of narrative about the way that Clover inspired a lot of single cup brewing sort of development and interest. But the fact that none of these tools have really been, I mean, again, like I said at the very beginning, and you mentioned, like a FedCo brewer or whatever, if it's well calibrated and dialed in well, you can't beat it. You'd think you'd be able to at least come close or match it on a single cup level, but it's damn near close to impossible right now. And part of it is lack of skill, but part of it is also the tools that we have. It's like we could have these archery competitions, but we have laser-sighted rifles too. You know what I mean? In that way, it is a demonstration of skill. But when we're trying to accomplish what we're really trying to accomplish, which is, again, deliver excellent coffee at the top world-class level, on a consistent level, at a fairly quickly pace, in a way that is customer-friendly and fits into their consuming patterns, in some way, that's a big challenge. And it's not one, again, that even a competition can do alone.
Well, it's an interesting discussion. It's been a great. I've enjoyed being part of the process.
Thanks for judging. It's hard work.
It is. It's a lot of coffee.
Yeah, but you've been one of the best judges, and appreciate all your help.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. So, anyways, until next time, remember, drink less more often. Cheers.